A wonderful afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luigi Mendoza, your host for today's event, Infodemic, addressing medical misinformation online. To start with our program, may I invite everyone to join us and feel the presence of the Lord as we offer Him a song of praise to be led by Musica Medicina.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand the mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Thank you, Musika Medicina. All right. Once again, we would like to formally welcome everyone to Infodemic, addressing medical misinformation online. On behalf of the Samasan Meadow, we extend our greatest appreciation to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us here today. We hope that this exciting program that we have lined up for everyone will be both fulfilling and engaging. We would like to congratulate the people who are the driving force behind this event. Hats off to the program committee headed by our very efficient and dynamic project heads, Mr. Aaron Dominic Medina, heads of the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Peace or SCORT, and Mr. Joshua Temelo, the Executive Assistant for SCORT. Let us give them a virtual round of applause. Okay, we'd also like to thank our partners and sponsors for making this event possible, and let's give a round of applause to our partner, AMSA UST Score. Next is to our generous sponsors, Daily Dose by DC, Stashware PH, Bonsante Arome Studio, Cow's Barbecue, Sticky and Crafty, Igena, Personitify, and Bibim Shop PH. All right, we've anticipated long enough for this day to come, and finally, the long wait is over. I'm sure you're all excited to start this webinar as I am. But before that, let's have a quick icebreaker to hype up our participants. So, guys, gising pa ba kayo?
Yes
Yes.
po.
Ayan, so gising pa sila. So for our first icebreaker for this afternoon, may I call on the Samasan Beda head of the Committee on Logistics, Mr. Julius Mendoza, to explain the mechanics of our icebreaker.
Okay, so good day everyone. So for our first icebreaker, it would be dreaming. So I guess lahat naman tayo familiar dito. So for the mechanics, step 1, the facilitator will flash some categories that you need to bring. Step 2, wait for the go signal of the facilitator. Then lastly, the first one to bring the correct item will be the winner. Always remember to click the raise your hand button and open your mouth to be recognized.
Ayan, so feeling ko we are ready for our first icebreaker for this afternoon. So for our first prize or for our question number 1, our prize will be a 10 ml essential oil roller blends from Bon Sante Arobe Studio. So nag-flash na yung first bring me. So meron na kayong clue. So the first one to raise their hand and have the item that is we are looking for, siya ang mananalo. So tignan natin si Miss Althea. Ang sabi po ng ating tinampalang judges, Manuel, are you there? Can you turn on your camera so that we can judge kung tamang something na may touch of green ang iyong pinapakita? Ayan, isa siyang Green Cross alcohol. So, Mr. Aaron, ang ating judger, pasok po ba ang Green Cross alcohol?
Pasok na
Something na may touch
pasok.
of pasok na pasok. Okay, congratulations, Mr. Manuel. Nanalo ka ng 10 ml Essential Oil Roller Blends from Bon Sante Arome Studio. Question number 2. Sige. Something natural. Something natural. Ano kaya ang mapapakita na ninyo na something natural? Wala pa? Wala pang nagre-raise ng hand? Tignan natin si Miss Hedy. Ano ang something natural na hawak mo? Ano yan? Miss Hedy, can you...
Balat ng dalandan.
Balat ng dalandan. Mr. Aaron, pasok po ba na something natural ang balat ng dalandan?
Of course, natural na natural.
Okay, natural na natural. Congratulations, Miss Hedy. Nanalo ka ng 10-gram bomb from Igena. Next, ano ang ating bring me number 3? Something funny. Maghanap kayo ng something funny na pwede nyo ipakita sa ating mga audiences for this afternoon. Tingnan natin. Meron kaya? Ayan, may nag-raise ng hand. So, Mr. Manuel, ano ang something funny na mapapakita mo for us this afternoon?
Good afternoon.
Okay, si Mr. Manuel pala yung... Okay, that's a stuffed toy. So, Aaron, pasok ba yon sa ating something funny? Alam mo, para mas funny pa yung tawa ni Mr. Manuel kanina.
Sobrang funny ng pagkatawa niya kanina. Sige, pasok na yun.
Pasok siya. So, congratulations. Mr. Manuel, nanalo ka ng 10% discount voucher from Bon Sante Arome Studio with 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC. Okay, ano ang ating fourth? Bring me. Things you put inside your mouth. 1, 2, 3, goes! Ay, parang ang dami agad na grace ng hand. Mr. Soniega, what is something that you put inside your mouth? Pakita nga niyan. Ano yan, Mr. Soniega? Pringles, gusto ko yung sinubo niya pa para pakitang nilalagay talaga. So feeling ko pasok naman yon, Mr. Aaron.
Yes, sarap ng kain ni, ni Ferds. Thank you, Ferds.
Ayan, congratulations, Mr. Soniaga. Nanalo ka ng 10% discount voucher from Bon Sante Arome with 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC. Next, ano ang bagay na hinahanap ng guard? 1, 2, 3, go! Ay, ang bilis naman. Parang ang bilis na ng face ng game natin. Parang ready na yung mga kasama natin. Miss Angelica, ano ang hinahanap ng guard sa'yo? Ano yan?
ID po.
ID. Mr. Aaron, pasok naman ang ID bilang hinahanap ng guard, di ba?
Yes, papapasukin yan.
Papapasukin ng guard. Congratulations, Miss Angelica. Nanalo ka ng 10% discount gift voucher from Bibim Shop with 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC. Question number 6. Ano kaya ang ating 6? Things you use when you exercise. Everyone, 1, 2, 3, go. Ay, ang bilis. Miss Charms. Miss ba to? Miss Charms? Charms. Ano ang something na?
Yoga mat po.
Yoga mat. Pasok ba yon, Aaron, sa ating something you use when you exercise?
Yes, summer bud.
Yes, parang fit na fit si Miss Charms. So congratulations, Miss Charms. Nanalo ka ng 100 peso gift vouchers from Personality 5. Next, something that inspires you. 1, 2, 3, go! Ano kaya ang something that inspires you? So this could be general in life, in school, or yung crush nyo, Char. So show us something that is... Ay, sino kaya? Dalawa ang nakita ko nag-raise hand. Pero sino ang sinabi ni Miss Alte? Miss Charms pa rin. Anong papakita mo na nakakapagpa-inspire sa'yo?
Cash po.
Cash prize! Tama nga naman. So dahil dyan, Miss Charles, nanalo ka ng 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC with 100 pesos Gcash. Ayan, cash nga naman talaga ang tunay na makakapagpa-inspire sa'yo. Next, sino kaya? Things you need for Oske or Ret Them. 1, 2, 3, go! Ano kaya ang papakita nila? 3 ang nag-raise ng hand. Pero sino ang pipiliin ni Miss Alte? Sama Angelica. Angelica, parang siya yung kanina Miss Angelica.
Po. Ito po.
Ay, nagpakita ng litmus stethoscope.
Kapakita po ba yung loob?
Ay, pasok naman yata yan, di ba, Aaron? Kahit box lang.
Yes, papasa ka sa neuro niya.
Ayan, congratulations, Angelica. Nanalo ka ng, tama ba? 10% discount gift voucher from Bibim Shop with 100 peso GCash. Next, ano yung pang-siyam natin na ipapadala? Something that helps you when you're sad. Ano kaya yun? One, ay, ang bilis naman. Parang may nag-raise na ng hands. Miss Julian, ano ang nakakapagpasaya sa'yo when you're sad? Ay, grabe naman. Opo. Oo nga naman po. Mr. Aaron, lalaban ka ba? Pinakita niya ay rosary.
Hindi, kaya malakas na malakas yan.
Malakas tayo kay Lord. Congratulations, Miss Julian. Nanalo ka ng 200 peso discount voucher cards. Any product without minimum spend until December 31.
Like, well, there you are. You are your father's daughter. Stubbornness and pride. Mind what he says, but remember, you may hear a voice inside. And if the voice starts to whisper, to follow the father's star, why not that voice inside is who you are.
Hello. So parang nagkaroon ng technical difficulties si Kuya Uge. So that's the 9th prize ba? Tama? Okay. So it's a 200 peso discount voucher. Voucher cards any product without minimum spend until December 31, 2022 from Cow's Barbecue. So now for the 10th question. So gamit na makikita sa toolbox. So 1, 2, 3, go! Okay, sino sasabihin ni Althea? Okay. According kay Althea, si Bricks daw yung unang nag-raise ng hand. So something sa toolbox. So ano yan?
Sorry, di ko pala na-off yung stop cam.
Okay lang. So ano yung dala mong something na makikita sa toolbox?
Screw po.
Screw. Okay, so nanalo ka ng 200 peso discount voucher then from that any card, any product without minimum spend until December 31, 2022 from Cow's Barbecue. Okay. So, wow! Tapos na yung Bring Me natin. So, that was a thrilling icebreaker. Thank you to the logistics committee for organizing this game for us. We'd also like to thank our sponsors and partners for all of the wonderful prizes they've prepared for our lucky winners. To all our winners, the event committee will send you a message with instructions on how to claim your prize later. Congratulations, guys! Moving on to our first guest speaker. Here with us today is Dr. Enrico Paulo Venezuela. He graduated from the UP College of Medicine in 2005. He completed his master's degree in education entrepreneurship at the University of Pennsylvania in 2009. He is also a graduate of Masters in Health Professions Education at the University of the Philippines National Teacher Training Center for the Health Professions in 2020. And just last year, he graduated Masters in Health Professions Education at Maastricht University in the Netherlands. He received a postgraduate certificate in teaching evidence-based healthcare at the University of Oxford in 2020. Dr. Banzuela is the chair of the section of Medical Physiology at San Beda University College of Medicine, a biochemistry lecturer at Athenaeus School of Medicine and Public Health. He is also the main author of different subjects in the Platinum series such as Pedia, Surgery, and Internal Medicine. Now, with great pleasure, we are very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Enrico Paulo Banzuela. A massive round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. So let me share my screen. So good afternoon to everyone. So I'll be giving you a very short talk regarding my own personal experiences on medical misinformation, how I processed my feelings about it, and how some suggestions and recommendations on how you can address similar concerns. Okay? So a few months ago, let me start with this. A few months ago, nagkaroon ng laban sa basketball yung Serbia at yung Philippines. Serbia, that's one of the, they have one of the best basketball programs in the world. They actually beat the United States in one of the tournaments a few months back. Okay, ngayon, ang kalaban nila sa game na to, Philippines. Ang pinadala ng Philippines ngayon, mga college players. So everyone was thinking, uy, bubugbugin yung Pilipinas ng Serbia kasi yung mga Serbia, may mga NBA players yan eh. Yung most valuable player ng NBA a few years back is actually from Serbia. Tapos yung pinadala natin, mainly mga players from Ateneo, some players from UP, etc. So mga college players. So everyone was thinking na mabubugbog, matatambakan dramatically yung Pilipinas. So some people were saying baka mamaya maging 100-0 yung score. 100 for Serbia, 0 for the US. So what happened? We nearly won actually that game. It wasn't 100-0. The coach ng Philippines, si Tab Baldwin, actually said it's highly improbable na mag-0 points ang isang team sa basketball. So ibig sabihin nun, makakascore at makakascore yung Pilipinas eventually sa game. Kung makakascore kami in one play, bakit hindi tayo we have a chance of actually winning the game. They nearly won the game. Okay? So what's the lesson for that? I'll say to you at the end of my talk. Okay, for now, let's focus on our main concern, which is this pandemic and all the that happened after the pandemic. This is the last picture that I had pre-pandemic. So if you remember, that was in March 2020. Nag-announce actually yung government na magkakaroon ng lockdown. Pero hindi for immediate implementation yung lockdown. Parang I think may 3 to 5 days to get your affairs in order, and then dun sila magla-lockdown. So this was the last picture that I took. I actually went home to see my parents, to see my sister. Okay? Makamusta lang sila dahil alam ko mga for 1 or 2 months, okay, we wouldn't be able to see one another. Okay? The pandemic changed my life. It probably changed your lives also. Changed everyone's life. At yung pandemic na yon, ang daming bunga. One of the fruits ng pandemic na to is really medical misinformation. Misinformation about the disease, lack of trust, decreased trust for health professionals by the general public, stuff like that. So how do we combat this misinformation now? How do we address that as doctors? Okay? So at the end of my talk, you, the future bed and doctor, must be able to do the following. Discuss tips on how to address medical information online. And we want you to be able to start reflecting on how to effectively advocate for correct medical information. Okay? So, the pandemic, well, ang daming nangyari nung nagkaroon tayo ng lockdown, ang daming mga hilig na nauso. So this is my daughter, si Arabella Aurora or Boogie. Ano bang pinagagawa namin nung 2 years na nagkaroon ng pandemic at sobrang lockdown, especially for the first few months. We played a lot of video games. I actually got an arcade machine made, and then yun, laro kami ng anak ko. Okay? A lot of us got into exercise, naging mga mas pa-buff ng konti habang nasa bahay, walang ginagawa, hindi makalakad-lakad. So mga indoor exercise ang nangyari. Okay? Some of us, okay, nahirapang magpagupit, nahirapang magpa-spa, so sina misis na lang naggugupit. So this is my haircut during one of those lockdowns. Si misis ang bumabawi at naggugupit sa akin. Nagkaroon tayo ng mga mga food trends. Dalgona coffee, if you remember them. Okay? Ube pandesal. Ang dami dire-diretso. So this was us cooking yung ube pandesal na yan sometime during the lockdown. Okay? And then a lot of us also became plantitos and plantita. Ako technological pa nga yung pagiging plantito ko eh. Talaga nag-alaga ng mga plants na coupled to computers. Okay? So many things have happened. Adaptation done by people regarding the lockdowns. But yun nga, medical information also exploded. And when I was reflecting, ano ba yung mga medical misinformation na dapat pag-usapan natin na pwede kong gawing examples? I can think of three. One is yung COVID denial. Okay? Pagsasabi na hindi naman ganun ka-severe yung disease, dapat tanggalin yung lockdowns, blah, blah, blah. Second issue na punong-puno ng medical misinformation is yung the use of ivermectin in the treatment and prevention of COVID. Number three, it's the anti-vaxxer mentality. Right now, this is the one that's happening among the significant portion of the population na the cure is worse than the disease, na hindi naman talaga kailangan ng vaccine, mas okay pa na naturally magpa-expose ka na lang, etc. So, let's discuss these three examples. Let me tell you my personal experiences regarding these three, how I address them, and what are the recommendations of experts on how to address issues like this. Okay? So, issue number one, COVID denial. So, siguro best example ko dito, naalala nyo guys, mayroong isang doctor of physical therapy, si Dr. Ron Samaniego, who basically said na hindi ganun ka-severe ang COVID, na doctors are doing bad things regarding this COVID, na sana i-open up na lang yung mga businesses rather than perpetually ang dami nating lockdowns. So he was actually censored by DOH, censored by a lot of doctors, fellow PTs. Okay? So, ang problema, ang daming naniwala eh. May mga ang nangyari, maglalabas siya ng Facebook page regarding COVID na scam lang to, hindi to ganun ka-severe, blah, blah, blah. Ang daming maniniwala, ang daming sasali sa FB group na yon or FB page. Ngayon, magre-reklamo yung mga doctors. So, report sila ng report. Eventually, matatanggal yung FB page na yon. Then a week later, meron na naman, tanggal uli, meron na naman. Okay? So ganun lang ang nangyari, dire-diretso, talagang persistent. Okay, yung nangyaring COVID denialism a year back. Okay? The second issue, okay, is yung tungkol sa ivermectin. Most doctors, most professionals are in agreement. Actually, all the big groups, CDC in the US, FDA in the US, WHO, DOH in the Philippines, all the big groups are saying that ivermectin is not effective for COVID, that it cannot be part of the treatment protocol for COVID. Well, there were real doctors, who believed otherwise and promoted ivermectin continuously, incessantly, even over and above the vaccines. Groups are even formed, okay, for the promotion of ivermectin in the Philippines. Ginaya pa talaga nila yung initials, no? Nagkaroon ng group called Concerned Doctors and Citizens of the Philippines, which promoted the use of ivermectin. Okay? The DOH and FDA, end of the day, they allowed it to be used as an emergency drug. But they didn't recommend it for the treatment as part of the treatment protocol. Citing na hindi talaga enough yung evidence to warrant na bumili ang bawat hospital, especially government hospitals, ng ivermectin or ma-include ito sa clinical practice guidelines in the treatment of COVID. Okay? So yung sa ivermectin, it's not completely false, but it's not completely true. Most medical information are like that. Okay, wherein you exaggerate certain portions ignore the other portions that doesn't support your stand. And it all becomes troublesome now, okay? Especially since at that time, it was ivermectin competing with vaccines eh. Kung maalala nyo yung experience natin dyan, okay? The third issue is the anti-vaxxer problem, which is actually worse in the US compared to the Philippines. Sa US kasi talaga napaka-strong ng individual human rights mindset sa US. So talagang pag ayaw ako mag-vaccine, ba't nyo ako pipilitin? Okay? Dito sa Pilipinas, mas ano pa tayo eh, mas compliant pa tayo na pag sinabi sa'yo ng matanda, kailangan mong gawin. So end of the day, probably we're going to have a larger, in the Philippines, we'll probably have a larger percentage of a vaccinated population compared to the US and other democratized countries. Okay. However, anti-vaxxer groups are also present in the Philippines. Okay, significant din yung number nila. And it's very frustrating kasi right now, almost all the experts really agree na talagang the way out of this pandemic is through vaccination, that it will decrease the number of people who's going to die, that it will protect people from developing variants. Okay? So this anti-vaxxer is really the most dangerous issue right now that we're experiencing. Since hindi buti sana kung hindi ka nagpa-vaccinate, buti sana ikaw lang yung mapapahamak. May maraming pwedeng mapahamak na ibang tao. Pwede kang makahawa, pwede kang mag-induce ng bagong variant. Okay? So, may personal reflections regarding this one. For these three issues, the emotions, it's a roller coaster. Of course, I felt anger, especially pag kapwa mo doktor, yung nagsispread ng disinformation at misinformation. Yung sa ivermectin, hindi hindi mga infectious disease experts yung mga nagsasalita eh. Talagang ibang mga orthopedic surgeons, cardiologists, yung mga pulmo at ID, infectious disease experts, more or less pare-parehas ng mindset sa ivermectin. There's not enough study to promote its use in the general population. So I felt, of course, anger when this started to happen, yung ivermectin. I felt anger, of course, sa anti-vaccine efforts ng kapwa-doktor natin. Doktor mismo nagsasabing, magpa-expose ka na lang, huwag ka magpabakuna. Okay? I also felt doubt. There's feelings of doubt na parang, okay, baka ako yung mali. Kasi may mga nagsasabi na ganito, baka sila tama, ako yung mali. And then pag titignan mo, okay, ito yung mga protocol. Galing sa agencies na to. WHO, DOH. Ito yung sabi ng mga experts, infectious disease experts. Pagtatawagan mo yung mga ID na kakilala mo, pagtatawagan mo yung mga pulmonologist na kakilala mo, yun din yung sasabihin sa'yo. Ito yung tama. Mali ang anti-vaxxer, ivermectin na yan. So there's feeling of doubt no matter what, na baka ako yung mali, baka sila at the end of the day tama. And then it mixes with disappointment and helplessness na parang may magagawa ba ako to actually combat this, to actually shift them into thinking in a different direction. So difficult right now. Everything is politicized. Nakakaano eh. When people say post things sa social media, there's really no room for debate. Eh. If you try and debate, it's seen as an attack and the logic is thrown out. We live in a time na talagang gusto ng lahat ng tao maging influencer. So kapag makikipag-debate ka sa ano nila in a logical manner, it's seen as attack. It's not really going to be helpful. Okay? Kaya nga ako right now, I actively avoid as much as possible political posts. Ang politics, dinidiscuss ko pag nag-iinuman tayo at nagkikita tayo personal but not anymore online. Dahil you really do not change. You really have less influence in social media compared to actual person-to-person, face-to-face meetings. So these are the emotions that I felt when encountering this anti-vaxxer, ivermectin, and all of these COVID scam issues, anger, doubt, disappointment, and helplessness. So what happened? Ano yung ginawa ko and what are the things that happened with these issues? Yung COVID denial na hindi na scam yan, gusto lang kumita ng mga doktor, hindi talaga ganun katindi, na parang flu lang. Okay? So what happened? Of course, I posted on my Facebook page, social media na nakakamatay yung COVID, facts about COVID, ito yung ano natin. Ito yung hindi bawal kasi because of privacy reasons na ipakita ko ano yung nangyari sa ospital. Pinakamadali kasi yung kumuha ka ng video sa ER ng mga pasyenteng namamatay sa COVID. Post mo yun sa internet kung hindi ba naman magulat yung mga tao at matakot. Pero bawal because of our privacy laws. So those who never visited the hospital never really saw how severe COVID was, how the pandemic really was bad, especially before the vaccines. So I posted on my FB page information about COVID. I also posted it on our family FB thread. Yung talagang kasama yung mga lolo, tito, tita. Meron din kami niyan eh. Okay? Doon sa FB thread namin, just ko, probably all of us may mga FB threads ng pamilya natin, di ba? And because you have a lot of different individuals, also basically common lang sa kanila, they share the last name. So, iba-iba yung opinions niyan. So, talagang dito may mga COVID is a scam moments din kami. Okay? So, anong ginawa ko? Okay, post, consistent. Ito yung information about COVID. Okay? Ito yung experiences ko. Ito yung abiso ng mga kilala kong doktor. I called up my close family relatives, explain it to them. Talagang Zoom. Hindi lang talaga. Remember guys, infinitely less yung power ng written word sa social media compared to really them seeing your face. Na-explain ko sa kanila to ng COVID, kung ano yung dapat gawin, kung ano yung mali, kung ano yung tama. Didn't lose my temper, spoke respectfully, especially to elders. Very important kasi ang bilis makapikon. Meron akong isang pinsan na surgeon sa PGH, graduate din from UP. Napikon dun sa family thread namin sa FB thread namin. Dahil nga sa pandemic is a scam post ng ibang mga kamag-anak namin. Nagwala talaga. Talagang sobrang anger, sobrang outburst. So pinagsabihan ko, kinausap ko na huwag mo kakalimutan at the end of the day na mas matanda sa'yo na kailangan pa rin talaga ng respeto para magkaroon ng konting order sa pamilya. So nabisuan ko na lang din siya. Then I try to diffuse the situation dun sa FB thread namin. Okay? What happened? Okay? So after 2 years, okay? So after 2 years, eventually nagets din ng pamilya ko. I think nagets din ng mga tao na hindi scam ang COVID, na talagang may COVID, na talagang nakaka-apekto yan sa lahat, pwedeng makamatay. That lockdowns are really painful but effective in limiting spread. Initially kasi may denial na kailangan ba talaga ng lockdown? Baka pwedeng wala naman, di ba tayo pwedeng maging creative? Pang mayaman lang yung lockdown. Well, at the end of the day, na-realize ng mga tao na naging mas lax, lumalala kaso, may mga namamatay. Nakakailanganin itong lockdowns, one way or another, especially pag sobrang severe na. Na-realize din ng mga tao na hindi talaga scam ng COVID dahil may mga namatay na kapamilya nila, kaibigan nila. I don't think it spared anyone. Okay? Any one of us. All of us probably have family members or friends nagkasakit, namatay sa COVID. Okay? One of the worst feelings in the world for me, nung nagkaroon talaga ng mga major lockdowns, usually March yan, tsaka yung sa September, August-September eh. Worst feeling is yung pagtitingin sa Facebook mo, tapos ang daming magpo-post ng mga display photos nila na black. So ibig sabihin namatayan sila. Hindi mo na kailangan halos itanong eh. Malamang kinamatay niya COVID. So really, really bad. Okay? So people realized, okay, may misinformation na COVID is a scam. Na-realize nila, okay, malamang hindi scam, malamang totoo. Dahil ang daming namamatay, nagkakasakit. Malalaman mo rin na natuto na yung mga Pilipino na hindi scam ang COVID, na totoo yan at dapat katakutan. Because if you see our masking rate, if you go outside, everyone is wearing mask eh. Malaki yung mask compliance natin sa Pilipinas. Ang mga Pilipino, mahirap i-disiplina. If you remember our first few months with COVID, hindi tayo nagmamask masyado. Okay, you see a lot of people na mali yung pagkaka-place nila ng mask. You don't see that anymore. You see people placing their mask because alam nilang makakatulong yon sa kanila mismo. Okay? Second issue is about ivermectin. Gumawa pa talaga ng group involving doctors, involving some members of the Board of Medicine are actually for its pro-ivermectin group. So it was really, really bad. If you remember the news articles, nagkaroon pa sila ng parang medical mission promoting ivermectin na may suporta from certain politicians regarding this ivermectin. It was really troublesome, okay? Especially since one of our brothers was actually involved in here, okay? So ito naman ang issue namin. Post siya ng post about ivermectin sa Viber thread ng fraternity namin. So, syempre kami, yung mga ibang brands niya magre-respond. Okay, ito yung mga detailed studies showing na hindi pa acceptable ang use ng ivermectin. Ito din yung sinabi ng brand natin na infectious disease, ganito, ganyan. So, ibang mga brands namin talagang nag-initiate ng discussion, okay, about ivermectin, respectful discussion, okay, over social media. Okay? So what happened? So yun yung ginawa namin. Usap. Ito yung kung bakit yung ivermectin na yan. It went nowhere. What happened? Talagang sarado na yung utak ng brad namin. Talagang headstrong eh. He actually became the president of CDC Philippines. And he was the one who led the efforts into promoting ivermectin. We have brads on both sides of the fence. We have brads with DOH, with WHO, with PGH, telling people na hindi pwede yung ivermectin na yan. Then we have on the opposite spectrum, Brad leading the way for ivermectin. So sakit, sobrang sakit ng ulo. Sobrang eventually nagkapikunan na dun sa Viber thread namin. So iniisip ko kung nangyari sa amin to, malamang nangyayari din to sa ibang Viber groups, hindi lang sa amin. Na nagkakaroon ng matindi-tinding discussion. O hindi sa politics, nagkakaroon ng discussion tungkol dito sa lecheng ivermectin na to. What happened? Eventually, ivermectin as an issue died out. Kung mapapansin niyo, wala na nagsasabi, uy, mag-ivermectin tayo, huwag na kayo magpabakuna. Parang mali eh. Halata naman talagang mali. So eventually, okay, when the vaccination rate started to climb, right now, almost the entire population sa NCR outside of children are already fully vaccinated. So mataas yung vaccination rate natin, especially sa NCR. So ngayon, you don't hear as many people saying na, uy, mag-ivermectin ka. Parang ba't tayo mag-ivermectin kung meron ng vaccine? Okay? So things have a way of working themselves out. If it appears that your medical misinformation will win in the end, my experience is that it really does not. Okay? Enough good people will win in the end against medical misinformation. Okay, I'll discuss that a little bit more later. The third issue regarding itong anti-vax. So ito yung pinaka-current, no? Na talagang hindi naman kailangan ng vaccines, mas nakakamatay yan, may mga nag-myocarditis, ba't mo ibibigay sa mga bata? Malabo naman magkaroon ng COVID na severe yan, bakit ibibigay mo sa healthy population? So all of this, tawag ko dyan mga swabbing hirit about the COVID vaccines. They're not really trying to terrorize people and saying, don't take COVID vaccine, you're going to die. It's really yung parang small targeted na, uy, may nagka-myocarditis sa COVID. Uy, okay naman tong Omicron, ma-expose ka lang, magde-develop ka ng immunity similar sa COVID vaccine. So they're basically trying to undermine the vaccination efforts through those small hirits. Okay? So what are the things that I did? Well, you have to walk your talk. You believe in vaccines, you get yourself vaccinated. So I got myself vaccinated with two doses of Sinovac, the one that's available at that time, and the booster dose of Moderna. And I posted it on social media the day that I got my vaccine. Pinost ko yan to encourage people. Told them about the adverse effects, side effects, if any. Told them my own personal experience and how I was able to get the vaccines. I promoted the vaccines to everyone. And I tried to remove the political aspects regarding the issue of vaccines in my post. Yung iba kasi talagang ihirit pa i-link nila, Sinovac, China, blah, blah, blah. Guys, nirecommend na ng WHO ang Sinovac as a vaccine. Sa China, where Sinovac is being used, ang sobrang mababa ang kanilang COVID incident rate. So, itong mga political aspects na to are politicizing the various vaccines are not helpful in terms of a vaccination program. So, I veered away from that. Okay, that's what I did. So, what happened? The same pro-ivermectin brands that we had transformed basically into the anti-vaxxer people that we have right now. Napaka no? COVID denial, then naging pro-ivermectin, then naging, anong tawag dito? Anti-vaxxer. Nagta-transition eh. So again, our Viber groups were inundated with anti-vaxxer materials, for about 2 or 3 weeks. So dire-diretso, every day may post na about vaccines, about na hindi nakakatulong, na hindi kailangan, na may selection bias, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of our brands were getting angrier and angrier every day, especially the pulmonologists and the infectious disease experts na pinag-aralan lahat yung mga biases, whatever, ek na yan. So they tried everything. Logical reasoning, citing evidence, citing studies. They tried humor. Okay? Eventually, what we found most helpful is just ignore. Okay? Ignore the propaganda. You really have to treat it as incessant propaganda. So instead of a resolution, we opted for a ceasefire. Okay? Remember for our fraternity that, okay, end of the day, hindi tayo dapat masira nitong issue na to. Bloods pa rin. So ceasefire muna. Okay, sa discussion natin regarding this one, since unlikely naman mag-change ng position yung mga tao. Tulad nga ng sinabi ko sa inyo guys, social media, you really have less influence. You just think that you can bulldoze people into thinking your way. It doesn't work that way. Okay, less ang power mo dyan pag written word over Facebook, Viber, Twitter, etc. Okay, so walang nangyari basically. Okay, this anti-vaxxer brands are still promoting an anti-vaccine stance. So, paano na ngayon, Doc? There's a journal, there's an article in the journal, BMJ, British Medical Journals, on the strategies to combat medical misinformation on social media. Let me give a quick summary, okay, and pertinent points regarding this one. So, view from the experts. Recommendations, how to combat medical misinformation. Number 1, you practice careful dissemination of medical research. Okay? Yung Inquirer, Rappler, GMA, ABS-CBN, remember this mass media, they are private corporations with that's profit oriented at the end of the day. They're not non-profits. Therefore, you have to be aware, you have to be conscious of the fact they won't inform you of the news. They are trying to sell you the news. So ibig sabihin noon, they're not really concerned with informing you, eto yung totoo. Gusto nilang ibenta kung ano yung totoo. So in the process na they're trying to sell you the news, of course, they will exaggerate some portions. Of course, they will misinterpret certain portions as long as it fits into a narrative that they know will increase reader engagement, get more people to click on those pages, get more people to share those pages, and then they earn income from the advertisement that results from the high engagement. So sa akin guys, palagi, every time, and I think this is a really just good habit, every time you read the news, you just think, ano yung point nito at anong gusto niyang ibenta? Di ba kapag halimbawa may gusto magbenta sa halimbawa sa MLM, talaga meron ka ng konting you put your guard up and you try to think, anong gusto nito ibenta? Bakit niya ginagawa to? At ano ba talaga yung totoo? Ganon din dapat, magbasa ka ng article, huwag mo paniwalaan basta kasi hindi objective third party ang mass media. It's a profit-oriented corporation. So even in the dissemination of medical research for ivermectin, for the COVID vaccines, effectivity and safety, even if they read the same medical articles as we do, they can, and they will sell it a different way. For example, classic niya na, they will misinterpret or spin a certain journal about, for example, Sinovac into basically saying na Sinovac is inferior to other vaccines and therefore ineffective. Okay, yun ang classic na napansin kong ginagawang misinformation ng mass media. You have to be aware of that. Okay, bakit to ginagawa? Ano yung dito? Gimmick dito. Talaga bang yan, inferior at hindi dapat i-recommend? Pero kung gano'n, bakit nire-recommend ngayon ng WHO? Bakit ginagamit sa China? So you have to be critical. So ngayon, magtatanong ka ngayon sa kakilala mong infectious disease expert or pulmonologist. Magtatanong ka ngayon sa teachers mo dito sa San Beda, Sir, ganito ba ang Sinovac? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? So be careful. Okay? Mass media will sell you the news and they will not merely inform you of the news. So please be careful in disseminating medical research. Second recommendation, fact-checking is key. Okay, so you look into experts. One of my issues regarding the use of ivermectin by my blood, anti-vaccine stand by one of my blood, is that he's not an infectious disease expert. He's not a pulmonologist. Okay, he's a surgeon. So it's not his forte, it's not his field. So pagdating sa expert fact-checking, you need to use multiple sources, of course, and you need to ask the experts. Kasi ang masakit dito, sinabi ng brad namin na anti-vaxxer and problema kasi pharma companies basically own doctors. So you really cannot trust the experts, blah, blah, blah. Undermine the experts. Sabi ng brad nga namin sa US, sa response to this, bakit? Kahit sabihin mong big pharma, whatever, hirit na yan, that they control doctors, blah, blah, blah. There will always be enough good doctors who will see otherwise. Kung talagang useful ang ivermectin, lalabanan namin yung big pharma, kami mismo. Kung nakita namin tama, hindi naman lahat yan evil eh. Okay? So, expert fact-checking is key. Multiple sources. Look at WHO, CDC, DOH, FDA. You ask your teachers. Okay? You don't just read a single article on our journal. You don't just read a single news article online and then accept it as fact. Okay? Mag-fact check na kayo talaga on your own. Okay? Mas madali na ngayon yan dahil it's all online. Next, okay, recommendation, how to combat medical misinformation. Use social media influencers. Conduct effective social media campaigns. Ginagawa na yan, na-realize na rin yan ng mga social media influencers na medically related. So one of them is actually a sis of mine, kaklase ko sa med school, top valedictorian ng class namin. Jing Zamora is actually an advocate for correct medical information. So, of course, hinirit niya na yan tungkol sa ivermectin, tungkol sa vaccines, pinopost niya yan. And she's able to reach out to a lot of people, much more than me, definitely, much more than my other classmates who are not social media influencers. So you want to combat medical misinformation effectively. This is one effective strategy. Use the influencers that we have. Okay? Next, you also need to conduct traditional public health engagement campaigns led by expert health organizations. WHO, DOH, FDA, may kanya-kanyang mga information dissemination groups yan and components. Okay, may mga PR firms, mga news firms na affiliated sila. So meron din sila mga campaign, nagre-release sila halimbawa ng infographics, nagre-release sila ng mga pertinent announcements. Share that. That's the easiest thing that you can do. Share those posts by these health organizations. Dahil at least mas maraming kumakalat na ganito na galing sa mga legit na organizations, mas madaling mag-combat ng medical misinformation. Okay? Also, we need to promote a culture of fact-checking among the general public na mismo. Hindi lang tayo. You need to encourage your tito na anti-vaxxer. You need to encourage your tita na pro-ivermectin na mag-fact check on their own. Wag lang i-accept as Bible truth yung mga sinasabi ng kaibigan nila. Okay? So this fact-checking tips for the lay people, meron naman yan. Ayan, nakasulat dito. Choose your sources wisely, proceed with caution, trust expertise, expand research, understand the core text. Explain it to them how they can actually do the fact checks themselves. You can tell them, oh, go to these sites. Ito yung WHO, DOH, CTC. Ito yung links. Okay? Ito yung link sa FB page ni Dr. Jing Zamora, ni Dr. Ronnie Baticulon, mga matitinong social media influencers. Okay? So promote a culture of fact-checking. Next, us doctors should advocate for correct medical information and should definitely speak up on misinformation. So yung mga FB post ninyo, yung mga post nyo sa Instagram, post nyo sa Twitter, importante yan. Meron at merong impact yan. Okay? However, these are some of the things you have to remember when you make your FB post. Number one, make your messages as simple as possible. Huwag masyado mahaba. You're trying to disseminate information to the general public and not to fellow doctors, fellow medical students. So kailangan, mas simple yung language. Next, take note that trust is built not with a single post, but over time. You have to cultivate the trust now by doing the right thing consistently. Ano ibig sabihin? Kamag-anak mo, bakit ka paniniwalaan? Nag-post ka once ng tungkol sa ivermectin na hindi yan nakakatulong. Pero pagkakakilala nila sa'yo, coops ka nung nasa college, coops ka nung bata ka. So, hindi ka talaga paniniwalaan pag nag-post ka niyan. Lalo sa social media, lalo na ngayon, hindi ka nila nakikita dahil sa lahat ng mga lockdowns that we have. So you need to basically build that trust over time. You start with your friends and relatives before you eventually proceed to the general public. And last and most important, guys, remove the yabang. Huwag kang mag-feeling na superior. I feel a lot of the general public kaya na coerce na attract dito sa mga anti-vaxxer tsaka pro-ivermectin groups na to is that they already feel helpless when you need to tell them you have to stay home, you have to wear masks, you have to take vaccines. They already feel very helpless. Nawalan pa sila ng trabaho, hindi pa sila makapag-happy-happy. So parang, kung layman ako, susunod na ako sa doktor, basta-basta. Wala na ba akong pwedeng gawin? Wala na ba ako ba ay mas bobo talaga forever compared to doctors? So if you have a tone now in your social media post na mayabang ka pa, na superior knowledge, pinapakita mo sa kanila, guys, you won't be able to attract your family and friends to think your way. Again, I already said it earlier, it's very difficult to influence people in social media right now. Since talagang right now, mas mabilis mag-unfriend, unfollow kaysa magsabi na, I was wrong in my social media post. You are right when you told me otherwise sa social media post ko na mali ako. No one in their right minds will actually say that. That's why they feel defensive. Okay? Would you do it if you were in their position? So, no yabang. Be very careful in what you say. No yabang. Okay? So, what's my point here? So, Doc, nairita ako sa mga social media posts ng mga kaibigan at friends ko ni anti-vaxxer na pro-ivermectin. Gusto ko, I want them to shut up. I want them to think my way. How do we do that? The answer is really you can't. Okay? The same way na 100-0 na score sa basketball is almost certain impossible. Kahit gaano kaka-olats na team, makakascore ka somewhere in a 40-minute game. In a population natin na 100 million, meron at merong anti-vaxxer. Meron at meron na pro-ivermectin. Meron at merong kakagat sa mga medical misinformation. The thing that you want to do is to minimize. So it cannot be zero. Okay? It cannot be totally, absolutely zero. You just want to minimize. And right now, end of the day regarding medical misinformation, when I was looking at the history nitong mga medical misinformation na to, ang classic example kasi ng medical misinformation is yung sa MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, na vaccine, na it can cause autism, if you remember that. yung mga medical misinformation na yan has a way of spotting out. It cannot be totally made into zero, but probably 99% of the people will believe na medical misinformation yan. Na ito yung totoo. Dahil ito naman talaga yung totoo. So my advice is to just don't take it too hard, don't take it too personal, and don't go for kailangan zero ang pro-ivermectin group, kailangan zero ang anti-vaxxer group. It will never happen, not especially in a democratic society. Okay? So chillax lang, everyone. So with that, okay, those are my experiences, my tips and recommendations based on what I've read and what I've experienced. Thank you so much, everyone.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Dr. Banzuela, for that very notable discussion on how to address medical misinformation online and be an advocate as a medical students for correct medical information, and also highlighting the big issues like COVID denial, ivermectin, and anti-vaxxers of medical misinformation and how to handle it within and outside of our family. So, all right, to our first forum session. Should you have any questions, please raise your hands and wait for your name to be called. If you're too shy to ask your questions directly, you can send them to me via Zoom chat feature and I'll be the one to read them. So everyone, our virtual floor is finally open to everyone. Don't miss your chance to ask your questions. I'm sure Dr. Banzuela would be pleased to answer all of them. So Dr. Banzuela, we've prepared some pre-made questions that we asked for our from our audiences. So let's start with our first question for this afternoon. Doc, have you unfriended or unfollowed some of your family and friends due to fake news? Was it worth it, po ba? Or we can do something about those syempre family and friends pa rin po natin sila.
O kasi ang paniniwala ko, pag in-unfriend, unfollow mo sa social media, it doesn't imply that you unfriended them in real life. Napakababaw, ano tayo, bata? Okay? So with that, pag harmful sa mental health ko, ina-unfriend ko talaga. Yung blood namin, for example, na anti-vaxxer, napiko na lang ako eh. Sabi ko, ano talaga? I don't want seeing gigising ako sa umaga, makikita ko sa Facebook ko, this anti-vaxxer ek na yan. So, unfriend. Of course, kung may hingin siya sa akin, I will help him. Kung may maitutulong ako, I will give it to him. Okay? Pag nag-inuman kami, pag bumalik sa I will give a toast to him. Okay? But in social media, guys, this is my personal mindset. You unfriend people who's bad for your mental health. Sasabihin ng iba, Doc, magkakaroon ka ng echo chamber. Paano kung magkakaroon ng echo chamber? Araw-araw ako nagbabasa ng news. Okay? Ayoko lang magkaroon ng bad trip, bad vibes chamber from these people. Okay? Kaya yung guys, ina-unfriend, unfollow ko ever since, mga 4 or 5 years na, anyone with extreme political views, anyone who tries to embarrass you about your political views in whatever way. Okay? I try to unfriend also anyone who talks badly about their ex or about their boss. Okay, and definitely I try to unfriend everyone na posting medical misinformation. Especially pag pinagsabihan mo na hindi pa rin talaga natututo. Okay, so those are, gusto ko lang makita personally sa Facebook ko, sa Instagram ko, mga happy post lang or use something useful in stimulating yung interest ko and knowledge ko. Pag bad trip, bad vibes, I don't subscribe to the fact na, okay, kapamilya mo yan, huwag mong tatanggalin. Tatanggalin ko. Hindi naman ibig sabihin hindi na kami magkaibigan sa tunay na buhay, na hindi ko na yan i-respeto. Okay? So, that's personally my view. Others may have a different view. They think na pag in-unfriend mo sa Facebook, in-unfriend mo na sa tunay na buhay, I personally see that as shallow and isip bata. Hindi totoo yun. Okay?
Ayan, thank you, Doc. Sabi nga ni Doc, choose peace of mind sa ating Facebook page. So, Doc, question po, was there a time during the pandemic that you had to struggle to convince someone who was less informed about a certain medical misunderstanding? How did you overcome it, Doc?
Mahirap kapag kamag-anak mo, especially pag may power dynamics, mas matanda sa'yo, mas madali kung mas bata sa'yo eh. Kung mas matanda sa'yo kamag-anak mo, mas mahirap. Fraternity blood mo, mas senior sa'yo, mas mahirap. Kaibigan mo, for a long, long time, agree kayo with everything else except this issue, mahirap. Okay? The same way na ang hirap mag-discuss ngayon kung halimbawa, fireworks yan eh, pro BBM versus pro Lenny. Pagsamahin mo, mag-usap-usap. Sakit ng ulo, di ba? So, the same way ngayon na itong ivermectin and sakit ng ulo. So, you just trying to state your points and move on. You cannot get a 100-0 score. You cannot convince everyone. So, you just have to let that go and just try to get the correct information to as many people as possible as you can. End of the day naman, good people will win out in the end when it comes to disseminating correct medical information. Wala naman ako nakitang country na, hindi na tayo magva-vaccine, useless ha. Diretso na tayo, ivermectin na lang tayo forever. Doon na lang natin gagastos yung pera. Wala naman nagsabing country na ganun eh. Okay? Even the state itself will protect themselves from medical information, not just citizens like us.
Ayan, thank you, Doc. So, for our last question for this afternoon, Doc, in one word, how can you describe your experience battling with fake news, Doc?
Tiresome. It's very, very tiresome. Nakakapagod talaga. Okay, honestly guys, gusto ko lang nakikita sa social media ko either pictures ng food, vacation, or funny incidents sa work. Okay? Pag ganito na may tungkol sa COVID na alam mong mali, COVID is a scam, blah, 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 hindi kailangan ng vaccines, or anything political, lalo na kapag political, tapos may hate part tungkol sa other candidates, bad vibes. Okay? So nakakapagod.
Ayan. Thank you very much, Dr. Benzuelo, for sharing your knowledge and for being with us this afternoon. So, with that, may we call on Mr. Joshua Entemelo, Samasad Beret's Executive Assistant for Standing Committee on Human Rights and Peace, to present the Certificate of Appreciation.
So, the Social Action Medical Students Association, Sanbeda University awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Enrico Paulo Banzuela, MD, MSED, MHPED, FPSP, for being one of the keynote speakers during the webinar of Sama Sanbeda Standing Committee on Human Rights and Peace entitled Infodemic, Addressing Medical Misinformation Online, given this 29th day of January 2022 via Zoom video conference, signed Aaron Dominic V. Medina, Project Head, Scorp Head, Sama Sanbeda, Joshua Entemelo, EA for Scorp, Sama Sanbeda, and Mara Joy T. Oberita, President, Sama Sanbeda.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Dr. Benzuela. And
Thank you so much.
thank you, Mr. Temelo. So, before we move on to our next segment, how about some spice from the dancing doctors of Sanbeda College of Medicine? Are you guys ready to witness a dynamic and gravity-defying dance number? So, without further ado, let us all welcome Medico Salto.
Come here, rude boy, boy, can you get it up? Come here, rude boy, boy, is you big enough? Take it, yeah, baby, baby, yeah. Take it, yeah, baby. Come here, rude boy, boy, can you get it up? Come here, rude boy, boy, is you big enough? Take it, yeah, baby, baby, yeah. Take it, yeah, baby. Tonight I'ma let you be the captain. Tonight I'ma let you do your thing, yeah. Tonight I'ma let you be a rider. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, babe. Tonight I'ma let it be fire. Tonight I'ma let you take me higher. Tonight, baby, we could get it on, yeah. We could get with the nicest. Nobody touched me in the righteous. Nobody text me in a crisis. I believed all of your dreams are duration. You took my heart, all my keys, and my patience. You took my heart, I must leave a decoration. You mistaken my love, I brought for you for foundation. All that I wanted from you was to give me something that I never had, something that you never seen, something that you never been. But I wake up and hell nothing's wrong. Just get ready for work, 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 work. You see me happy work, 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 work. You see me do me dirt, 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 dirt. That's all me about that work, 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 work. Na 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 na. When you walk out, na 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 na. Before the table turn, 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 turn. Beg you something, please. Baby, don't you leave. Don't leave me stuck here in the streets. If I get another chance to, I won't never, no, never neglect you. I mean, who am I to hold your best against you? I just hope that it gets to you. I hope that you see this through. I hope that you see this true. What can I say? Please recognize I'm trying, baby. I feel why. It's me, I feel why. You see me do my da 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 da. So me by that why. When you walk out, la 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 la. When the cat from my dirt. Work.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Medico Salto. May we request Doc Banzuela with a photo opportunity with the certificate of appreciation and with the officers of Sama San Beda. Ayan, siguro mag-count na lang po ako. So, 1, 2, 3, everyone smile. Ayan, so thank you so much, Dr. Banzuela. We are very fortunate to have you for this afternoon. So, all right, everyone. So we have one more special guest speaker who you should not miss. I swear to you guys, you don't want to miss out on what she's prepared to share with us for this afternoon. But before we proceed, we will have another game in which everyone is encouraged to participate because there are exciting prizes to be won. So once again, may I call Mr. Julius Mendoza to explain the game mechanics for our next game.
Okay, so good day everyone again. So our next icebreaker is entitled So You Think You Know the Music. So for the mechanics, first is you have to answer what is asked. Then each question only has one correct answer. Participants are not allowed to use outside help of any kind. To answer, kindly type the word on the chat box that will be given by the host and wait to be acknowledged. Then lastly, have fun.
Ayan. So for our so the first word you need to type for our first question is iPad. So what is our first question? Ano po yung first question natin for? So first you have to type iPad and you have to answer yes or no. Is One Direction was formed in the X Factor season 2012? So for you to answer, you have to type first iPad, then we will call you, then you can answer our question. So I think it's Angelo Manuel. Are you there?
Afternoon again, organizers.
So, Mr. Angelo, is One Direction was formed in the X Factor season 2012? Is it a yes or a no?
Yes.
Is it a yes?
Oh.
Wrong. So,
Oh.
who's our next lucky guesser? I think who sh- it's PC Mika or Micah.
Mika.
Mika, is it a yes or a no? Uh,
No.
No. Is it a no? Correct. So, Miss Nika, you've won a 10 ml essential oil roller blends from Bonsante Arome Studio. Congratulations.
Thank
So,
you.
for our congratulations. So, for our next word is nanogram. What is our question number 2 for the word nanogram? Could you play the music so that they can guess? You have to type first the word nanogram for you to answer this question. Ano kayang kanta to? What's the title? Sige nga. Miss Irish Amsali. What's the
Hello.
title of this song?
Taylor Swift's All Too Well.
Taylor Swift All Too Well. Is it correct? Correct. Sinabi niya pa yung artist behind the song, di ba? Very complete. Congratulations, Miss Iris. So, nanalo ka ng 10 ml essential oil from Igina. So, for our next word, for our third question is fever. So, ano ang question natin for the word fever? Brian May is a member of which iconic rap band? Yeah. Parang si Mr. Angelo Manuel. Brian May is a member of which iconic rap band?
Hello po, my reason Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses, is it correct? Wrong. So sino ang next nating manghuhula? I think it's Mika.
Queen.
Queen is correct na Queen? Correct. So, Mika, congratulations. Nanalo ka ng 10% discount gift voucher from BBM Shop with 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC. So, for our fourth word, for our fourth question is oligarch. Oligarch. So, the question is fill in the blanks. Blank is the real name of Lady Gaga. So you have to type in first oligarch, then you can answer the fourth question. So the word is oligarch. Kaya question ko tuloy yung ano. It's, guys, it's oligarch. Ano Tagalog na ito? Ano bang clue for this a family of char. Charot. So ano siya? Oligarch, guys. It's very actively Ayan. So, Mika, What is the real name of Lady Gaga?
Stephanie Germanola or kasama yung yung iba pa.
Um,
Stephanie
yung
Joanne
buo
Angelina
niyang name.
Germanota.
Yes, that's correct. Tama po ba yun? Gusto ko yung sila. Yes, that's correct. Congratulations, Mika. Nanalo ka ng 10% discount from Bon Sante Aromate Studio plus 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC. So, for our question number 5, our word is demonetize. Pag yung pera luma na, anong tawag? That's the word, demonetize. So, tignan natin. The fourth question is enumerate the four members of Blackpink. Miss Irish Amsali, sino-sino sila?
Jisoo, Jenny, Lisa, and Rosé.
Oh, wow. Tama po ba yun? Correct. Congratulations, Miss Amsali. You won 100 peso gift voucher from Personitify. So, for our sixth word is estrogen. Estrogen. So for our question number 6, you have to guess which music video is this scene, and you have to type the word estrogen. Ayan, Miss Amsali,
Katy Perry, the one that got away.
the one that got away. Tama po ba? Correct. So congratulations, Miss Amsali. Nanalo ka ng ano na ang 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC with 100 peso GCash. So next is for our question number 7 is the word misinterpret. So for the word misinterpret, you have to guess the title with the given lyrics. So I think the first one to chat is Miss Charms. Miss Charms, ano ang title ng lyrics na to?
Hello? Parang may nauna ata sa akin.
Yung spotter po talaga. Charot. So, sino po ba ang nauna, Miss Spotter? Kim Am sa UST.
Ay, hello po. Thinking of You by Katy Perry.
Thinking of You, is it correct? That's correct. Congratulations. Miss Kim, nanalo ka ng 10% discount gift voucher from Bibim Shop with 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC. And with 100 peso GCash. Wow, tatlong prizes pala yun. So, next, for our eighth word, you have to type in identity. Identity, and you have to guess what is the title of the song used in this scene. Diba? Miss Irish Amsali?
Can't help falling in love.
Can't help falling in love ba? Correct. So, Miss Amsali, nanalo ka ng 10% discount voucher from Bon Sante Arome with 50 peso voucher from Daily Dose by DC with 100 peso GCash. Parang malaki-laki na nauwi ni Miss Amsali ngayong gabi. So, for our question number 9, you have to type in cooperation and you have to guess the song of the title. Cooperation. So, a clue for this song is, ano ba ang clue natin for this song? Ginamit siya sa kanta, ay sa movie na Cooperation. Miss Mika, what's the title of this song?
Earned It by The Weeknd.
Earned It. Correct? Is it correct? So, correct. Congratulations, Miss Mika. Nanalo ka ng 200 peso discount voucher cards, any product without minimum spend until December 31, 2022 from Cow's Barbecue. So, for our last for our last question for this evening or afternoon is stethoscope. Ano ang question for our word? Guess the singer. You have to type in stethoscope for you to be able to answer. Okay. Miss Olga from YL2.
Ages po.
Ages. Is it correct? Congratulations, Miss Olga. You've won 200 peso discount voucher card, any product without minimum spend until December 31, 2022 from Cow's Barbecue. So, what a very fun and exciting game. We are glad that everyone took part and enjoyed the game. So, guys, we have uh so much stored for you. So, stay for the rest of the event, and mamaya baka ikaw ang lucky. Lucky? So, we are glad that everyone took part and enjoyed the game. Thank you everyone for participating, and congratulations again to all of our winners. Again, the event committee will send you a message with the instruction on how to claim your prize later. Okay, the time has come to finally introduce to you our last guest speaker for this evening. Joining us tonight is Miss Marie Drixky and Bohador, earned a bachelor degree in fine arts, major in painting from the University of Santo Tomas from 2010 to 2018. Worked as a freelance illustrator and writer. Her previous works as an illustrator include Gospel Comics for the Communication Foundation for Asia and Tatsulo Comics for the Galang PH organization. She worked as a social media coordinator and content creator at InTouch Community Services from 2019 to 2021, and currently the marketing and communications coordinator at the same institution. Miss Bohador will be sharing her insights on the effect and relevance of social media in today's medical health. So without further ado, with so much honor, let us welcome Miss Mary Drixky and Bohador. A big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. May I share my screen? Wait lang. Advance. Okay. Sige. So, okay, thank you for that wonderful introduction. You made me sound like I was a very cool person there. Thank you so much. But anyway, moving on, I want to talk about responsible social media sharing. What happens when medical health goes social? So we're here to discuss what happens when we take information and share it online. Ano yung mga ways para makapag-impart tayo ng correct information, tsaka good knowledge, tsaka mag-start ng conversation on social media of all places. Alam naman natin that social media is the dominant platform for social interactions, pero hindi lang social interactions, pati na din yung exchange of information, news updates, and the like. So, pag-usapan natin yan, how can we positively share credible information online? So, let's begin with intention. On social media, we share a lot of things like anything from memes to YouTube videos, photos and videos of our lives, quotes and affirmations. So a lot of things expressing different ideas and different perspectives on various topics. Most of the time, there's nothing to it. Talagang share lang natin sila because we think, oh, this is good stuff, you know. We want to share good stuff. We want to share our joy, our discoveries. It's good stuff. Pero then there are things that we share that are more serious, like yun nga, news updates, medical information, advocacies, and even campaigns. Then we really have to think about ano yung intention natin behind that, ano yung purpose natin personally. We can ask ourselves in the moment, am I doing this to advocate? Am I doing this to educate people? Yes. Or can be as specific as am I trying to shed light on a misconception of kaya am I trying to teach people correct information or setting facts straight. So yeah, so there, why am I sharing this post about why am I sharing this information? When we share information on social media, we have to understand na ang intentions natin para maging consistent tayo in our content, how we present ourselves, how we present the information. So sharing information on social media, minsan it feels like nagpo-post ka lang on a bulletin board and then people can just look at it and they can say, I like this or I don't like this. But in reality, it's really more like having a conversation or setting up a conversation. Bakit ganun yung comparison? Is because sa social media, everyone has the freedom to engage and disengage kung saan man sila willing to or interested in when they see something on their feed. We get dislikes, we get likes, we get angry emotes, we get angry reacts, or meron tayong other smiley faces and hearts. In some cases, we get comments din. Mayroong mga lengthy comments, mayroong mga passionate pa. Pero the gist of it is that when we post something publicly, it's like an open invitation for others to hop in and share their 2 cents. So with that perspective, mas maintindihan natin how our own intentions, we're putting ourselves in a position kung saan if we know our intentions well, we won't drown out other people's feedback, other people's suggestions or opinions. Kasi you know how it is on social media. A lot have strong opinions and a lot of people parang may pinaglalaban. Pero when we know within ourselves kung ano intention natin, we sort of stand our ground. We have a good standing. And this way, when we impart knowledge, we're a little more open to other people's feedbacks, but at the same time, we stand our ground. And then should there really be a need to have that conversation online and, maybe exchange some thoughts or insights, we're sure na what our intentions are and we're able to deliver our message in a way na dinedefine yung purpose natin. So we take a moment to ask these sample questions like, what is my key message? What is the result that I'm hoping for? How does this relate to or affect other people? So these are some things that to keep in mind or to give a thought whenever you're trying to post something para as a starter. And then there's knowing your audience and knowing your target. The tool is not always the same. For example, kasi let's say you have an audience na you have a following of young students or medical students on your page o kaya on your account. Pero the kind of people who you want to talk to is something more wide, like the general public. that can include adults who are in the working class. Maybe you even want to speak to organizational bodies who want to make a change or make a change and get their attention. Pero it's important to know your target audience, like to understand who you're trying to talk to para you understand then how you deliver the information or message that you're about to share. So who am I talking to nga? Knowing your target audience helps you to identify factors in communicating your key message. So I understand sa social media, once you put up your post, they're free for all siya. So anybody and everybody can view it. Pero it's not necessary that everyone will stay and view the entire content. This is the reason why we try to tailor fit yung message natin to the target audience, to the people na gusto natin makinig. We will talk about this later then. Right now, we would like to take into consideration the kind of crowd that we're speaking to kasi we want to be able to customize that our way of having that conversation with them. When we know who we are talking to, we can address certain factors like when we're communicating, like how simple should our message be? How do we deliver the message? At saka what angle of approach can we do? An example, let's say we want to deliver medical information to the general public. So since yung audience mo wide and general, we have to take into consideration na some people or most people, they wouldn't understand medical terms or scientific terms. So we might have to simplify our message more. There's also the factor of how we speak to the audience. Ano yung approach na pwede natin magawa that would speak to the general public, that would be all-inclusive and all-inclusive siya. So we will further explore this later. Pero that's the same that goes with the angle of approach. We have to really understand muna kung sino yung kinakausap natin para we can better prepare how we talk to them. And then research and resource. So this is something din talaga na we have to move to the credibility part of our information. How do we avoid misinformation? And this is something that we can't really escape, especially with medical misinformation online that ayaw natin mangyari. I know when it comes to medical information, vital siya na makapag-provide tayo ng correct information to avoid any misunderstanding kasi in some cases, most cases actually, it's a matter of life at saka health and safety. So on social media, the idea of being credible matters, especially with this kind of sensitive information. I know that a lot of people have parang worries o kaya worries na it's ayaw nilang makorek or makapagbigay ng misinformation or wrong information online. And this is understandable kasi the idea of being corrected on social media doesn't feel good at all. Parang when you're corrected in the eyes of the public, parang ang critical ng pakiramdam, ng public. And it's true. They can be overly critical. Maraming mga highly opinionated and marami ding mabilis makipag-debate. So it's something to parang valid I can definitely say na valid yung fear behind not wanting to share false information. But this is why researching and having good resources is important then para with yourself you're secure na the information you're giving out is credible and is correct. So yeah, how credible are my sources? So there's really no cheat to this. The more credible you want your information to be, the longer you have to dive into research and to back up the knowledge that you're receiving. Um, so you have to do fact check talaga your sources. You have to study kung saan sila nanggagaling. You have to check the background of your sources, your website. So I know it's social media. It's different from doing research papers, pero really it's almost the same way. The exception lang is yung sources mo are found online and not from research papers or books. Pero it's still important to cite where you find your information to keep track of where you get them. So one of the most credible sources are on news giants, mga online sites nila, websites of well-known organizations. In our case, kasi at InTouch, we're a mental health organization. So we usually refer to WHO tsaka NCMH for mental health updates. So I assume for medical information, sites like the DOH o kaya local epidemiology sites might be credible sources. And if you know any international or local health organizations who are also offering credible information tsaka updating information, you can use those. One thing to remember though, when you share information online, especially medical information, you're not just reposting or resharing information. Nagsiset up ka din ng level of credibility for yourself as well. So it's good habit na makapag-cite ka pa rin ng sources mo and references mo, even if, let's say, humaba yung description ng post mo, if you put descriptions on your post, even if humaba siya, if it's going to show that this is well thought of and well researched, then so be it. Parang do the extra effort para show na this matters enough to have the extra research. So we move to communicating. Siguro the final part of this whole connecting to the audience or responsible sharing on social media is like how you communicate to the public, how you communicate to your audience. There's a level of relatability that needs to happen. Kailangan mag-set ng report to connect to your audience para makuha yung attention, and then also ma-avoid yung instances where there's a debate, there's a misunderstanding, there's parang cyberbullying or stuff like that na ayaw nating mangyari. How do we do this? How do we communicate positively to the audience? So first of all, we try to attract your viewers muna, of course. Social media is a universal platform with a 24/7 feed. If you want your message to be seen, you have to turn heads. Even though may target audience tayo in mind, we can't really specifically get their attention or hand pluck them from the crowd. We have to turn everyone's attention first, and we let the content do the filtering. With social media being fast-paced, we have to keep in mind some key things, especially kapag ikaw yung nag-create ng content or you're creating from other sources and we're sharing them online. These three are just examples on how we can grab people's attention, but there's more that you can learn along the way. Strong colors, sure they attract attention, pero they're not usually enough in getting someone's attention kasi the whole picture has to harmonize. The elements, yung font, even the captions, they have to harmonize kasi people don't really stop to look at something that's confusing or overwhelming. What they stop to look at is something pleasant, yung peaceful sa mata, peaceful sa loobin, like what Doc Enrico earlier mentioned, he likes to see happy things, good things on his feed. So in the same way, a lot of people want that. So we try to keep it simple and pleasant, harmonious. And then there's attention grabbing captions. It's the same as the concept of having newspaper headlines. So the headline would be in a short sentence, but with an intriguing lead. Something to invite the viewer to learn more by clicking the link o kaya watch the video or read the article. Pero usually it's brief and it's a real teaser. Parang ganun. And then finally, a wall copy. We call it wall copy, pero it's usually the description on the post. And that's what we use to connect to the reader. One thing that I learned in managing social media and observing other social media efforts is yung visual content, kapag pinapair siya with a wall copy or description that speaks directly to the reader, mas mataas yung chance niyang magkaroon ng engagement than without lengthy wall copy. I learned that people are inherently curious din naman talaga. Once na drawn na siya sa post, they'll really want to learn more. They'll really want to know what it is for. So that goes back to our intention. We want to know what the purpose is. And then that's where we sort of try to start a conversation by using the wall copy or setting up a conversation starter. So yeah, we have to break down the information. In social media, a viewer's attention is short and fragile. So when we're able to get attention, we have to make it easy and relatable. It's just how it is. Parang in this day and age, parang everyone's hopping from one content to another. Yung yung feed on social media is just mabilis yan. There's really so much information that we can find online and a ton of things that we can do alternatively besides looking at social media. So fragile talaga yung attention ng viewers natin. So when it comes to sharing information, we want it to be brief but well-meaning, short, well-meaning. Kasi we don't want to overwhelm our viewer. We have to break down the information in a way na easy for them to digest and comprehend, na pumapasok sa the amount of time that they're willing to give or that they have now. So this is where understanding your target audience comes in. When you know how well your audience can understand information you're giving, pwede mo siyang ma-adjust to how simple you have to break down the information. Like, for example, if your audience is kapwa medical students mo, maybe you don't need to simplify too much. Maybe you can use medical terms. Pero if you're talking to the general public, again, to a bigger audience, maybe yun nga, we'll have to simplify terms, layman's terms, and para mawala yung chances of misunderstanding. We would want to make the message short and well-meaning para hindi sila overwhelmed. The information will be bite-sized and maiiwasan natin yung confusion part kasi ayaw nating ma-mix up nila yung information for something else. We wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want information overload and have them mix it up and get it wrong, even though tama naman yung binibigay natin. And lastly, we can also offer yung continuation of information. So in the chances na they do get hooked, tapos they want to know more, we can lead them to another supporting article or kaya another post or another video where they can learn more, tsaka they can dive deeper into the topic. Pero we're not going to tell them to go there. We're going to offer them. So there's a little bit of difference there. And pag-usapan natin how we go about yung tone of suggesting or suggesting something to the public para makakuha sila ng tamang information. we always give our viewers the freedom to choose. So yeah, be connected to the audience. There's a level of relatability that needs to be set in order to build a moment's connection with your audience. There's empathy, information, validation, and call to action. How you deliver your message is key to reaching all types of people talaga. Whether skeptic yan or hard-headed or people who also already want to understand, it might be surprising, pero what you say sa wall copy mo really matters. Kasi what you say there, people do read it actually. And what you say sa wall copy or sa description influences yung perception ng tao dun sa content mo. It sort of sets the tone of how to look at the information that you're giving. So one thing we learned at InTouch is the general public really wants to be understood as much as it wants to be taught. So the key thing here is to offer empathy tsaka validation. Parang it's key to validate people na kung ano yung knowledge na alam nila matters, and kung ano yung level of understanding nila also matters. And then it's okay to not get it at first and then understand through through searching for themselves. Parang the key here is to empower them to want to search for more or want to learn more. And then there's a part here na i-connect natin where when we understand our intention, we understand then how we want to treat our target audience then. So am I here but to preach? Am I here but to help clarify? Kasi those two are different. Am I here to condone? I hope not. Pero yun yung hinahanap natin. Ano ba yung intention natin? And then we can finally set the tone of voice na gagamitin natin to connect to the public. So yan, we address the issue, we try to offer empathy, trying to understand and build that rapport. As we also address and validate any type of worry regarding the information, kasi a lot of people they can be opposed to it, or unsure or afraid of the new information. So we try to validate their feelings regarding that, especially kapag very new and very sensitive yung information. So we try to make them feel understood. We're not here naman to condone, to criticize or judge people for their views or unsureties. We're here not to start a debate then. We're just here to start a conversation, to invite people to think about this information in a positive light. And lastly of all, of course, we try to do a sort of call to action then. Hindi naman siya dictation, pero sort of an empowering moment where we make a gentle suggestion na if you learned something or if you found something valuable in this information, maybe there's something that you can do to act in response or in relation to the information that you receive. So yun yung key elements that we usually do, at least at InTouch, that really helped us connect with our viewers. So here's a sample ball copy of one of our posts. Trinim ko na lang siya kasi it's a little bit longer than that. Pero ito na yung pinaka-basic na elements na I shared with you earlier. So I'm just gonna read it. The current situation in the pandemic has gotten people feeling either sick or anxious about getting sick. While there's so much uncertainty around, it's good to be reminded of what we can do when we encounter certain situations. This video from WHO shares with us the best steps to make you or your loved ones to to make should you or your loved ones get sick with mild symptoms of COVID-19. And then we link it to a video made by WHO on what you can do if you have mild symptoms of COVID-19. With all the stress related with the pandemic, remember to take care of your mental health too by allowing yourself to talk to others about your worries, anxieties, or any bothering thoughts. Crisis Line is here to listen. You can call us at, and then we get the number. So basically, it's just a gentle, trying to be welcoming or inclusive, all-inclusive and non-judgmental type of um, way of communicating. So, ayun lang. Well, that's really all. I hope that's useful for you. That's all that I have to share. I hope nakatulong sa inyo. But yeah, that's all of it. Thank you so much for having me.
That was indeed a very interesting talk, Ms. Bahadar. We appreciate your time and effort in sharing your knowledge on this topic. It certainly made a significant impact on us, especially the part of how we can be an advocate of right information with the right and effective way of communication. Actually, feeling ko yung parang pinaka nag-impact sa akin is that when we share information, we have to have our intention first. And with that intention, we should always put na we are here to start a discussion na kailangan ang information na i-share natin, hindi natin ipinupush sa iba, but we are enlightening them and encouraging them for us to have a discussion of how we share information and of how we share information on social media, that when we share information, we have to understand our intention in order to stay consistent with our context. Ayan, very, very enlightening. So, kailangan hindi lang pala basta-basta tayo nag-share ng information sa social media. May tamang approach pala, di ba? May intention, may tamang way of effective communication. So, that is how we should present as medical students, or as graduates, or as postgraduate students. We should be an advocate of information, thinking that we have to start a discussion, and our intention is to create an effective way of communication. So again, we have allotted a few minutes for your questions. Please do type in your question into our Zoom chat box or click the raise hand button for us to acknowledge you. Then unmute yourself and ask your question. So, parang may first question na tayo for this for this evening. So, Ms. Bahador, the first question is, what is the most challenging part in presenting contents in social media po?
Siguro the most challenging part is yung kapag inaano mo na, sinisimplify mo na information. Kasi there's really a lot, especially siguro when it comes to medical information, there's really a lot na gusto mong sabihin, pero you have to condense it. So parang, like same as when you write a book or a research paper, parang there's a lot that you want to put in there. There's good information, pero you have to condense it talaga. You have to edit everything para maging bite-sized siya for the public. So yun yung mahirap doon, parang deciding which information would be shed and which information stays. So yeah, yun.
Ayan. Thank you po, Ms. Bahador. So, we have someone raising his hand. So, Mr. Angelo Manuel, what's your question for Ms. Bahador?
Evening, did you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Takeaways and insights. I do have a questions. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. It will help to my personal growth to your two guest speakers. Congratulations to all of you organizers for your successful webinar this today. I am so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Angelo Manuel. So, feeling ko, thank you, Mr. Manuel, for enjoying our event for this evening. So, Miss Bodor, we have another question for you. Ang feeling ko ito yung isa sa pinaka-challenging na, di ba medyo ang mga tao very sensitive on social media, especially nakikita siya ng ibang tao. So, how do you handle criticism from the public regarding posting or publishing contents online?
Yes. So, this is how we usually get, hindi kami, familiar na rin kami with criticisms online. We have had comments before regarding sa mga post namin kasi we also post, ano tawag doon? We support kasi din LGBT communities, mga all-inclusivity na kind of body positivity, mga ganyan. And some people, hindi sila okay with that. So, we usually get comments from that. Pero the one thing that we learned how to respond to them is, first of all, we just say thank you for sharing their ideas na this is what you acknowledging lang, parang giving respect na this is your opinion, but this is ours. Parang we just thank them and acknowledge them for their sharing their insight. Pero on our end, if we know that we're on the right side and we're on the good side, no need to say sorry or anything like that. We just acknowledge lang and move forward.
Ayan, thank you, Miss Water. So, for our last question for you for this evening is, Mama, what is the proper way or what is the professional way of handling harsh comments from people who we do not know what they are talking about? Is it better to let them say whatever they want because it is groundless, or make an effort to educate them even though they will not accept it?
Siguro it depends na lang din on, first of all, you have to check in with yourself first. Like, have you been talking to this person for a period of time na ba? Have you been exerting yourself over and over for this person to understand and it's going nowhere? Kasi if yes, maybe it's time to let it go na and not turn it into a debate nga. Pero if it's someone new, let's say it's a stranger, it's definitely okay to approach it in a way na, I saw this information from this source, or I, let's say, kunwari, mental health related, WHO confirmed that this kind of study supports this kind of, destigmatizes this kind of topic. We can cite samples para to share lang with them. Parang, kumbaga, parang, this is, kunwari may in-approach sila sa'yo na they don't believe you or they don't know what they're talking about. You can present them with facts. It's up to them if they, dive into it, give it attention, read it at all, or ignore it. Pero if whatever yung naging decision nila to do with the facts or the information that you share, we can't really control it anymore. So we just, yun na lang. Parang we share what we can, pero put a line na din to how much we exert effort para hindi tayo na hahaggard trying to deal with hard heads.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Bodor. So with that, we would like to invite Miss Patricia Tenco, the Executive Assistant for University Affairs, to kindly present the Certificate of Appreciation.
The Social Action Medical Students Association, San Beda University awards this Certificate of Appreciation to Ms. Mary Tixty Ann Borador for being one of the keynote speakers during the webinar of Sama San Beda's Standing Committee on Human Rights and Peace entitled Infodemic, Addressing Medical Misinformation Online, given this 29th day of January 2022 via Zoom video conference. Signed, Aaron Dominic V. Medina, Project Head, Scorp Head, Sama San Beda, Joshua N. Tumelo, EA Force Corp, Sama San Beda, and Marijoy T. Uberita, President, Sama San Beda.
you.
Ayan. May I ask na lang po kung sino yung for the photo opportunity, and also please turn on your camera for the Sama officers for the photo opportunity. Thank you. I'll just count one, two, three for us, then screenshot. So one, two, three, everyone smile. Okay na po ba? So again, thank you very much, Ms. Bohador, for the information you shared to us, and for sharing your expertise with us tonight. And for sure, they will use it next time or when sharing information on their social media. So we would like to thank everyone for sticking with us until the end of our program, and to formally end our very fruitful event by delivering his closing remarks. May we invite the head of the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Peace and the event spearhead, Mr. Aaron Dominic V. Medina, a big warm of applause.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Before I start my closing remark, I want to thank all of you for joining our Infodemic webinar and engaging with our speakers, and for being participative with games we had prepared. I also want to thank our esteemed guest speakers, Dr. Enrico Paulo Valenzuela and Ms. Mary Ann Bojador, on sharing their thoughts and giving their time with us despite their busy schedule. I also want to thank the people who made this webinar a success. My EE4 Corp, Joshua Temelo, my Scorp members, especially Charlene Mercado, who created all the publication materials that were released prior to this event. Luigi Mendoza, our super energetic host, Althea Obligado, and Alexandra Tabor, who helped manage our Zoom games. And of course, all the SAMA officers that have always been supportive and responsive to all my queries, and for helping us in the preparation and in organizing this event. Lastly, to our partner, AMSA UST Corp, headed by Cassandra Ong, and our generous sponsors that provided us lots of giveaways and discounts. Daily Dose by DC, Personatify, Splashware PH, Bibim Shop, Sticky and Crafty, Bon Sante Arome Studio, iGenna, and Cow's Barbecue. Infodemic, defined by WHO, is too much information, including false or misleading information in digital and physical environment during a disease or outbreak. Given our technologies today, social media is now comparable and far more superior than newspapers in providing information to the public. Information is a double-edged sword that, if you use it properly and responsibly, it can defend and even save you. But if you won't be careful enough, you may put yourself in danger. Humans are emotional creatures. Kapag may nakita tayong nakakatawa, nostalgic, or something na nagustuhan lang natin, isa-share na natin kaagad. Sana hindi tayo ganito pagdating sa health-related issues. As a medical student and as a future doctor, we don't really rely on feelings alone, as it would cloud our judgment. We're being trained or formed to always rely on evidence-based medicine, on papers that are properly peer-reviewed. It is not acceptable in our field or any other profession to solely rely on information from Wikipedia, TikTok, or YouTube videos that doesn't have enough reliable references to be the source of information. When using social media apps, we must always be mindful on the things we share online, especially if it will endanger the lives of the people around us. Before sharing such information, don't just read the title. Always read its content, be critical. When in doubt, counter check. If the post is truthful, feel free to share it. If it's a fake news, ignore and report. Given this infodemic webinar, I hope we all realize the importance of being an educator, our responsibility to the society, and our role in fighting misinformation. After this event, I hope we will no longer be silent and no longer be neutral. We always have the chance to pick a side, and may we always choose the truth. With that, thank you and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron Medina. What a way to end this program. Thank you, Mr. Medina, for those heartwarming closing remarks. We are nearing the end of our program. Displayed on your screen is the QR code for the post evaluation form. Before we sing the bed and hymn, don't for see bed and hymn. Don't forget to fill out the post evaluation form, and we have also provided a link on the chat box for your convenience. Now, before we bid our goodbyes, please join us as we sing our Beden hymn. Audience for their active participation. Hopefully, today's learning will be beneficial for everyone.